Hey, what's up, Crush and Rock Stars? It's your girl Ashley from ReloGeek.com. And today is going to be a little bit of a different format. Some of you may not like it because there may be a lot of rambling. I will probably edit it out. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But I have a long drive ahead of me, and I figured I'd hop on here to talk to you about your business and just ways that you can be a better broker to make more money and ultimately get paid top dollar shipping cars, because that is what I help people do. And so the thing is that a lot of people think getting paid top dollar to ship cars is a hard thing. And really, it's not. Getting paid top dollar to ship cars really comes down to a few fundamentals. One, can you get somebody to trust you? Two, can you make somebody feel seen and heard? Three, can you get people to see you as the obvious choice? Now, when I say trust you, what I mean is instant credibility. And just by generating instant credibility, it's actually a game changer for a lot of my students. And it's easier than you think. So, when the last time that you went somewhere and you dealt with somebody that was an expert at what they do, then you probably give them instant credibility because you see that they know what they're talking about. And if somebody knows what they're talking about, then you instantly put them on a pedestal. And even if you're not consciously doing that, subconsciously, you're putting them on this pedestal. And that's the benefit and the joy of deploying different techniques that allow you to be seen as credible or to be seen as an expert. And that's the goal. When people ask me, Ashley, how the heck did you charge $300 for your service fee when most people struggle, or I struggle, to make $150 per car? In fact, the other day I was talking to somebody about purchasing my program, and they wanted to see if brokering was right for them. And one of the questions they asked me was, how, when I was asking this other person, she told me she charged $50 a car and you were charging $300 a car. How is that possible? And so I have a little story to tell you. So it's funny because when I first started my business, I copied what everybody else was doing. So I charged about $200 per car. And then eventually I dropped down to $75 a car. And the reason I did that was because I was learning from different sources that weren't in the auto transport business. So they were teaching me that sometimes it's better to do bulk, meaning a lot higher quantity of people versus, quality. So less people, more money. And so at the time, it made sense, $75 per car, and I will make millions of dollars easily, right? Because how hard is it when you're charging so little to convince people? And so what I quickly realized is that the lower I charged, the harder it was to sell. I want to repeat that because I want you to pay close attention to what I just said. The lower I charged, the harder it was to sell. And here's why. And I see this even playing out in my business right now as well. But when you charge lower, people devalue what it is that you have to offer. And so then they start to negotiate with you. They start nitpicking. And then they become the worst kind of customers, and they never, ever refer you to other people. Let me repeat that again because it's worth noting. Usually when I was charging $75, the people weren't referring me to other people. It was a lot harder to convince them why they should choose me because now they're comparing apples to apples in their eyes, which is the lowest price to the lowest price. And then the customers, when they did choose me, if they chose me, it was harder to work with them because they were so nitpicky. And it's the same thing in my business. When I charged $2,200 for my brokering course, I sold it easily, and I didn't have any issue selling it. And I didn't have people wanting to talk to me beforehand. It was rare that people wanted to talk to me beforehand. But when I charged, $297, 444, 555, even 1700, people would message me, Ashley, how do I know this program is for me? Hey, can I talk to you on the phone before purchasing this program? And then I noticed that it was a different kind of person. And that's a significant thing to pay attention to. Now, maybe in your business, you can charge, $75 or $100 for your service fee. And you get great customers and you love working with them. But for me, that just was not the case. For me, that just did not play out that way. I found it much more enjoyable when I was able to charge $300 as my service fee. And I kept it pretty consistent, because that's the other question I get asked is like, do you change your price? Like, do you adjust your price? No, my price was always 300. So people that came to me knew that they were paying my service fee of $300. And we'll get into that a little bit later in this training. But what I want you to pay attention to here is the fact that the difference between the fact that when I charge $75, right? $75 for my service fee, I sold less than when I charged $300 for my service fee, which meant that the total price of the move was higher. Okay, so, why is that? And that's what I really wanted to talk about today is, why is it that when you charge more, it's easier to sell people? And I think it goes back to what I call is positioning, okay? And it's how you can sell higher prices, by positioning yourself. When I sold less, the sales conversation was, well, I am inexpensive. I want to be affordable for everybody. I want everybody to be able to afford to ship their car because it's safer, it's better. All these things that I thought mattered, right? So I was selling them something totally different. And I didn't realize this until after the fact, when I started asking these questions. Why was it easier for me to sell at a higher price point? Okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing is that when I was selling at the $300 price point, I was not selling based on what is better for you or any of those things. What I was doing is positioning myself as an expert. And by doing that, people inherently trusted me, right? And so that's when I realized, so maybe, who's to say, maybe if I position myself as an expert at the $75 price point, I might have sold more, right? I didn't test that out. But why go backwards to sell at the $75 price point when the $300 price point was working so well? Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, Ashley, I need a practical answer to how I can sell more at $300 because I'm having trouble. I'm hitting a brick wall. The first thing I do when I in my mentorship program, the program that people pay me $2,200 for, they get access to me for 12 weeks. Inside that program, what I do is I work with them one to one. So if they have a question where they're struggling with converting leads during this 12-week process, sometimes that means I need to get on the phone with them and I need to talk it out and see what's going wrong. And so what I'll do is I'll do an exercise. I'll say, all right, let's just use the name Steve. Steve, convince me to buy from you. I'm the customer and I need to ship my car. How do you go about this conversation? And the funny thing is, after doing this so long, the thing that I realized was happening was that people were, these students were pushing why they should pick them. They were like, oh, because, you should, because paying lower price, your car, you're going to get crappier service, your car going to get damaged, all of these negative things. And although they're true, right, generally speaking, you're going to have a shitty experience, all the things, right? It doesn't really matter in the mind of the customer. The customer does not care about those things the way you think they should. And so through analyzing this, I realized that they all were doing the same thing, which is not wrong per se, but it was the reason they were not converting leads. And so what I do is I'd walk them through how I would. I said, give it to me the hardest. I want you to not go easy on me. I want you to ask me all the hard questions, and I'm going to be the broker. And by shifting it and showing them how I answer and respond and initiate, how they were like, oh man, Ash, I want to give you my credit card right now and I'm not even shipping a car, right? And so that's what you want. You want to be able to get people to say, I don't even need to hear anymore. You sold me. How do I book with you? And every time I end up on the phone with somebody, right? Or I shouldn't say every time. There was times that, they would say, I need to get back to you. And I noticed that when that happened, it was either one of two things. They just weren't going to ship their car. And they genuinely was looking for the cheapest price. There's nothing you can say or do to convince them other, right? Because somebody's budget is their budget. And I'm not going to convince you to spend more than your budget. Like if that's your budget, I'm not the right one for you. But also some of those times was when I was not doing what I'm supposed to do to get the sale to move toward the next step. And so that's what I want you to understand. Like, the ball is actually in your court. It doesn't matter, generally speaking, when the customer says, I can't afford to ship my car with you because you're too high. A lot of times that's just a cop out. That's just them saying that because you have not done your job, right, as a business owner to express your expertise, to show your expertise. And it's not just as simple as saying, I am an expert. No, because I can tell you right now, I'm an expert in quantum physics, right? I could say that, but are you going to believe it? No. Why? Because I didn't show you, right, that I am an expert in quantum. And that's really what it boils down to. And I have this saying that I stole from many, many years of people saying it, which is, you hear this even when you were in kindergarten: show, don't tell. Even though in kindergarten they said show and tell, right? But my philosophy is show, don't tell. Because I could tell you, people hear things all the time. People promise a great experience. They promise that they're different. But do you really experience that the person is different? Do you really experience that the person is fulfilling their needs, that or their promises? Chances are you don't. And that's why you didn't pick them. See, when people don't choose me to teach them how to become a high paid auto transfer broker, it's not them that's the problem. It's me. I did not do my job as a business owner, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a consultant, in showing them that I can, one, solve their problems, and two, that I am an expert at what I do. Because if you go to somebody that you confidently know can solve the problems that you specifically have, your unique situation, because let's face it, we all think our situation is so unique, but really it's no different than everybody else's, right? It's just a different variation of it. But the core principles is the same situation. You want to be a high paid broker, right? You may have a day job. You may have a family to support. You may not know what you should do, right? But it's all the same thing, the same end goal, right? But just different expressions of it. So if somebody comes to me, or you go to somebody and you confidently feel that they can solve your problems, you're going to choose them. You're going to pick them. And if they've expressed that, and they've probably done something to show you that they are capable of doing that. And so as a business owner, as I said, as a consultant, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a friend, as a big sister, because those are the things I have my students call me, it's my job, if I want you to be the best expression of yourself, to be a successful auto transfer broker, to be able to do the things that you need to do to make the money so you can live your dream life, then I need to show you that from the beginning. And it's so simple, but yet we move away from that so many times. And that is making sure that you understand what it is that the person desires the most, or what they fear the most, or a combination of the two, and then showing them, not telling them, showing them that you are the one that can help them achieve those desires, take away those fears, or do both. And so that is your job as a high paid broker. That is your job, is to be able to show, don't tell. And when you can do that, selling becomes easier. It doesn't matter if you're 3 times. I used to hear this a lot, okay? People used to say to me, oh my God, that's how much it's going to cost to ship my car? That is 3 times what I've been quoting. And I've heard that. So if you're hearing that, that is okay. That's a sign that they're interested, right? That's a key sign. I teach you how to pay attention to the signs in front of you. So that is a sign that these people, this person wants you to convince them why they should pick you and pay 3 times your price. It's not them saying that they're not going to pay. And that's where a lot of newbie brokers go wrong. They hear that and they automatically just wipe their hands and they say, no, they don't want me. I'm too expensive. Did they explicitly say that you're too expensive? What they said is, you are 3 times, 2 times, $300 more, $10 more, $5 more than what they've been quoted, which means that is an open invitation for you to show, don't tell, why you are the obvious choice. It's really not that difficult to get paid top dollar to ship cars when you have a proven system and you know how to do it. And all along throughout this training here that I've been helping you with today, I have been showing you different scenarios and teaching you different techniques on how to get paid top dollar to ship cars. Pay attention to the signs in front of you. We get so blinded by the bigger picture, or in some cases, we get blinded by the tiny details that we're not seeing what is right in front of your face, in front of our face. And I am not exempt from that. It took me a while to really hone in on the skills to understand people and what people are really trying to do, or what people are really wanting when they're trying to ship their car. All right? People will give you cues. It's harder when you're in a space like where I am right now, where I'm making this training that's going out to thousands of people. I have 20 something thousand subscribers right now on my YouTube channel as I'm filming this here, as I'm recording this, right? And as time goes on, it's going to get a lot harder for me to talk to just one person because there's no back and forth. It's just me talking. However, when I get on the phone with somebody, when I'm talking to my mentorship students, or even the people in my self-study course, right? It's different because then there's a back and forth. Then you could say something and I can respond and I can understand your unique situation. And so that's what I want you to do. I want you to focus, right? I want you to focus on paying attention to the signs that are in front of you. And that's what I want you to do. That's the lesson I want to take away from this. Show, don't tell. You have to make you the obvious choice. I did an entire webinar on this. How to get paid top dollar ship cars, the new way to freight broker. So if you want to check that out, go to carshippingrockstar.com and check out that webinar. It's going to cover some more tips, that you can use. We're going to bust through 5 myths that are preventing people from getting paid top dollar to ship cars. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Well, that's it for this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like it. I'm Ashley from ReloGeek.com. Now get out there and make moves happen. I'll see you in the next one.